Flour, yeast, water, and salt are the basic components of a white bread dough. By changing the type of flour to whole wheat flour, you'll get a whole wheat bread dough. Now if you take your normal white bread recipe and replace the yeast with a sourdough starter, you'll have sourdough bread. Now change the type of flour to rye flour and add molasses to the mix and you'll have a basic pumpernickel bread. Then instead of molasses, do a mix of rye flour and regular flour and change the sourdough starter back to yeast and you'll have rye bread. Going back to our basic white, if we instead of regular flour use a high protein flour like bread flour and boil the dough before baking, we'll have a bagel dough. Now if we go back to our basic white bread but add eggs, butter, and milk to the mix, we'll have a brioche dough. Swap the butter for sugar and the milk for oil and you'll have a challah dough. Take your basic white bread and instead increase the amount of water and you'll have a ciabatta dough. Then if you just layer it with a bunch of olive oil, it becomes focaccia. Bring the water level back down and it becomes a pita dough. Add yogurt and milk to the mix and instead of olive oil, use a fat like neutral oil or ghee and you'll have naan. Mix the flour with cornmeal, replace the yeast with baking powder, change the water for milk and add an egg and you'll have cornbread. Take everything away except for water, salt, and cornmeal. More specifically masa harina, which is cornmeal treated with lime water, and you'll have corn tortillas. What happens if you combine everything together? The result is chaos.